Hello, everyone, and welcome to Grip Locks, Foundation Disc Golf's weekly podcast. I'm Hunter, joined as always by Trevor and Konner.
Hey.
And we've got quite the show today. We'll be talking through the new Pro Tour schedule.
Let's just call this show like the scandal update, because I feel like we're got like
the Pro Tour schedule, first scandal. Nikko Castro's suspension has been reduced, and we had the first outside disc golf. I don't know what this place is. Quillette wrote on transgenders in disc golf, and the only reason I want to bring it up is they had some FPO players anonymously interviewed. So I think it's some fascinating stuff in this article. So we're going to talk through all of that, Trevor's trivia, all the typical stuff. We'll have a USDGC preview coming up here in a few days as well. But let's go ahead and jump straight into it. We're going to start it off with the Nikko Castro suspension being reduced. So it's been reduced by a third, which basically just means it's now a 6-month suspension. So he'll be able to start the 2023 Pro Tour season because I believe February 8th is the date that it'll be done, and the Pro Tour begins a little bit after that. According to Ultiworld, his probation period has been up from 15 months to 18 months. So essentially, the total probation and suspension period together is the same. It's just the suspension period has been shortened by 3 months.
Yeah, if you're Nikko Castro right now, you're probably on top of the world because now, this is obviously really sucked, and you're about to miss USDGC. But in the back of your mind, you're like, hey, everybody's off season starts in a couple weeks, and then we'll all be on the same page again. I'll get back on track next season. The most interesting thing I thought about this article is I don't really I don't have a problem. This happens a lot where you have an appeal and there's a suspension reduced. It's not that crazy. And it doesn't shock me either. I think it probably makes sense to end the suspension at the end of the season. The most weird thing about this was the PDGA just completely declining to comment. I forget what the phrase was in there, but basically they didn't give any reasoning for
the PDGA does not comment on player disciplinary matters.
Right. So that's stupid.
Yes.
What about the PDGA has such a they are so careful to protect themselves so that nobody can say they're wrong about anything, that they're just if there's anything controversial, we're just not going to make a statement. We're just going to make our ruling and you guys need to deal with it. Basically was what's happening there, I guess. But yeah, so why it would be great to know, just release a statement being after the appeal, we decided blah, 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 and this is why we reduced the suspension. It's not I don't think anybody was going to take that and be you're crazy.
Well, what I'm curious is
how could they I feel like everybody just read that and probably just glossed over it, but didn't realize the PDGA just literally is we're just going to make rulings and not say why, and then you can just deal with it.
I agree more with the 6-month suspension than the 9-month original one. I think to the end of the year makes a lot more sense. But what I'm curious is what new information or anything was provided in the appeal.
Exactly.
What changed their mind other than it's been
social
a little
pressure.
Bit, we feel bad for Nikko. Because what it shows to me, and I talked about this a little bit on debate night, I don't necessarily like it because it makes it where when the PDGA says something, you can't trust them.
Right.
Because the PDGA comes out and says 9-month suspension. If I'm the player, I'm thinking, okay, but if I appeal this, I can get it reduced. But then what if you don't get reduced? Mm-hmm. How do you know what Nikko did differently than you to get his reduced and yours not reduced?
Yeah.
Or anything like that. Or is this the new standard? Is if I intimidate someone, are the PDGA saying, hey, we reviewed our whole process and this is actually just a 6-month suspension on our end. It has nothing to do with the appeal.
You know what it is?
None of it makes any sense.
It's them establishing a complete lack of accountability because now they've created almost no precedent for this situation, because there should be a lot of new precedent considering this was the first major suspension that we've had in the tour history pretty much, because Nikko was probably the biggest player to ever get a suspension like that.
Bradley Williams was pretty big, but with
not
media
as big
focus
as
and everything, yes.
Not as big as Nikko. So there's a lot of precedent that should be introduced. They should be telling if there has been changes to the new standard or how they're going to handle suspensions, we should know. And because having that accountability protects the next player who gets suspended, being able to point to a previous case and say, this is what happened in this case, I should be treated the same way. This is why there needs to be a players association in disc golf, because right now, the PDGA is supposed to stand for the players, but do they really that much? I don't know. The best example of this, the whole situation with Tua in the NFL happened recently, where he was playing when he really shouldn't have. He got hurt, head injury situation. Who are the ones that are standing up for him? The Players Association. You know, they're the ones who are banding together, making sure that there's investigation launched into this. I feel like the PDGA, like I
think there is a Players Association. I don't.
There
think
probably is within the PDGA, yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I think the PDGA always tends to lean towards themselves. Like, they always side with themselves, which is totally what the league does
but in this case,
American sports.
They might be siding with Nikko. We just have no idea what the heck's going on.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I just don't even know like what is happening. So I just want there to be more clarity on these situations because there's no accountability.
Well,
there's just no accountability
to
in the
me.
PDGA.
To me, once you make a statement, make a suspension, there should be a reason it's reduced.
Right.
Like, did Nikko show you? Maybe Nikko had some type of breakthrough in like the therapy stuff he was doing. Maybe Nikko showed a change of heart. Maybe there was something that Nikko did.
That's what I'm saying.
But like, we know, according to this information,
nothing new.
Nothing new happened, other than we know Nikko appealed it.
Yeah.
But we don't know what was in the appeal or anything like that. And we just know it got reduced by 3 months, but his probation got extended 3 months. It basically, to me, it seems like, oh, shoot, we feel bad for him.
Yeah.
Let's just make it where he can start the next season, which is fine. That's fine. I felt bad for Nikko. Obviously, Nikko has to be responsible for his own actions, and hopefully this whole offseason he's taking action to make progressive steps forward and everything. But let us in a little bit here because like it's the PDGA is supposed to be like
they need to be more
for the players, and they need to be a lot more transparent. And this is where if this was the Pro Tour. And this is where I think the Pro Tour needs to be in charge of this stuff. If this was the Pro Tour, there would be a statement or the suspension wouldn't have been changed.
Right.
Like, if you're doing something this big, the Pro Tour understands getting ahead of the narrative because, like, now, in our minds, as the media talking to you on a podcast, we can create whatever PDGA narrative we want.
Right.
Because they can't tell us they're wrong.
With.
The PDGA doesn't comment. To me, that means the PDGA's in the wrong. So the PDGA messed up, realized they messed up, and now said, hey, you know what, Nikko? This is just like last year's Player of the Year. We messed up by giving it to Katrina Allen, so we did co-Player of the Year to Paige Pierce. We don't know how to make a decision and stand by it, so we're going to do the same thing here.
All you have to do
you can't prove me wrong because you didn't talk about it.
All you have to do is release a statement that says, after further evaluation of the situation, we deemed that this terms of punishment would be more fair.
It sounds like did they even...
That right there is all you need to say, and like at least we're like, okay, there was an evaluation, you just decided to be more fair. Or you could say like, you know, we've decided that we should start taking a different approach to suspension, and it'll be reevaluated in the future. Like, I don't know, just like anything.
What's fascinating is from the Ultra World article, and I'm on the PDGA to make sure this is true. The PDGA didn't even address that it changed at all.
They just gave it to Ultra World.
No, they didn't even give it to Ultra World. Ultra World found it, or someone probably told them according to the updated documentation. So basically, all that happened is their disciplinary files.
So they were like
updated.
Really brushing it under the rug.
That's what I'm saying. They aren't even addressing it at all. Like they're
so
basically
weird.
If you go to their file now and you find Nikko LaCastro, it basically just now says 6 months where it used to say 9 months is what happened.
That is so odd.
Here's Nikko. So now it says 6 months suspension plus 18 probation. So that's like.
So somebody just stumbled upon.
So they just kind of like slid it in there and changed it.
There's probably a leak too, because Eisenhood reported it, didn't he?
Yeah.
So I'm sure he's got a guy. Like somebody probably pointed it out to him. But like that it's crazy that's how it has to get out.
Like the PDGA wasn't even going to make a statement.
It's not even like it's something that needs. I just don't understand. Like it doesn't need to be brushed under the rug because it's not a
like
big
an embarrassing
deal.
thing. It's just like there's clearly a reason you made the decision. Just tell everyone. Nikko, on the other hand, did comment. He said, I've been practicing and will be prepared to compete at my best by February 2023. My heart is in the sport of disc golf. Dedication's flowing through me. I've got a lot of love for all the people who have been in my corner throughout this process. Looking forward to working hard and continuing my preparation for one heck of a comeback story. I've got some unfinished business, making progress in a lot of different ways to satisfy my hunger to succeed. This has not been easy for me to be off tour when it's all I've known nearly half my life. Staying focused on positive outcomes on the horizon.
We'll see.
Yeah. The only thing
I'm excited to see his first round back.
Being very picky, you would think in a first quote back, the first thing I would have said had been like, really sorry about my actions. You know, in my appeal, I talked about how I've made these changes, these steps. To me, it sounds like he's like, yeah, I'm freaking ready to come out.
Yeah, he
tear up this tournament.
He kind of said he's like ready to come back, but
it's gonna be one heck of a comeback story. I've got some unfinished business. We'll see.
I don't know.
We'll see. He's on a probation period when he comes back.
That sounds less like That sounds more like revenge than it does anything
that's
else.
What I'm saying. That's
Hey,
being
I'm-
super picky,
I'm
reading
down
into words
for
on a
revenge.
page.
Like you're totally allowed to be a villain. You just can't yell at spotters.
Absolutely.
and
If
get
he
in their
goes out
face.
there and he's the Nikko that happened every time before European Open, I'm fine with it. Like, take your time, be that guy. When you get called on it, just own up to it this time, and we're home free. That's it. But yeah,
I don't
very,
even
very
care. Like
interesting.
you can be mad, just don't get in somebody's face
Oh
and
yeah,
yell at them.
yeah. Punch yourself, punch your leg, whatever. Just don't punch someone else. That's basically where it's at. Please don't punch me.
I don't know. I'd probably take a punch.
He's gonna punch you.
He's gonna punch me. Anyway, so his suspension, he'll be back next year. I, as a fan, am very excited for that return. I think it's a great storyline going into the next year. I think that the suspension reduction makes sense. I would just like to know the reason. That's all. That's where it's at.
That's all.
I don't feel like I'm asking too much.
That's script locked.
That's it. That's the whole show. Another big thing that came out with the PDGA and the Pro Tour is the 2023 Pro Tour schedule.
It's a banger.
Yeah,
It's
they seem to be making the right moves. I'll explain that. So I'll kind of just go brief over the entire schedule. First off, they don't have in here the 2 wraparound events, the New World Open and Lake Marshall, that are 2023 events, but are happening in 2022. So they're happening here in the next few weeks. But it'll start at All-Star Weekend back in Arizona.
I'm interested to watch New World. That's the one in Florida, right?
Brody said that we should plan our Jacksonville trip around when New World is.
When is that?
I don't know. Let's look it up.
Is Jacksonville still like underwater? Or did
I don't think it hit there, did it? It went farther south because Jacksonville's by Tampa, right?
Okay, I don't know.
I think it originally was going to open there or hit there.
I don't know what parts got crushed.
Fort Myers got crushed and Naples.
Gosh darn.
If you're in that area, hopefully you and your family are safe and doing well. I had some friends in Fort Myers, and they were fortunate enough that they are okay. I don't know about their house suffered some damages, but they're okay. November 11th through the 13th.
That's my anniversary weekend.
Yeah. So you want to spend it in Jacksonville, Florida?
Nope.
You sure?
I already booked Airbnb.
Is it in Jacksonville, Florida?
No.
So the tour will start at the Las Vegas Challenge, then head over to Waco. Then the Open at Austin's the first new tournament that we'll get to. Basically, the Open at Belton's gone. It got moved to Austin, Texas. So this is one of the...
Do we know about that course?
No, we don't know exactly what course is being played, none of that.
And the Open at Belton is still a Silver Series?
No, Open at Belton's gone. The Open at Belton is now the Open at Austin.
And is it a Silver Series?
No, it's an Elite Series.
So it's an Elite Series. Was Belton a Silver, though?
Belton was.
Okay.
But this shows a move, and you'll see this a few different times.
Oh, they made Texas State a Silver.
State's a Silver. That's the next thing I was going to say. But you'll see this a few different times where it seems like the Pro Tour is moving towards more populated areas. Like, it seems like they're understanding, hey, if we show up to Emporia, Kansas, and there's not an AM event with 1,000 people going on at the same time, it's going to be hard to get as many spectators out here.
Right.
Seems like that line of thought's coming through.
Yeah, I like them going to Austin.
So
I'll be curious to see what courses
Brody
they play.
did say that's the same weekend as South by Southwest, which is like a music festival in Austin.
So there'll be a lot of people in town.
Which could be good or bad. Because they're there to watch a music festival, so are they really going to watch disc golf? Also,
there's very much an overlapping demographic there.
But how, like, hotels are going to be more expensive. It's going to be harder to find hotels to travel there.
Yeah, I'll be
Logistics.
curious.
It'll be interesting to do that. But Texas State's got downgraded to a Silver.
They should
And
get
Brody made a good
KJUSA
point.
at the South by Southwest.
Brody made a good point that Texas State is now saying Houston, Texas instead of Tyler, Texas for the location. So it appears it has moved as well. Music City Open got upgraded to an Elite Series.
Gosh, what courses are they going to play?
The same one they played last year.
Wasn't the course they played last year not good?
No, I think Brody really liked it.
Or it was 2 years ago.
2 years ago wasn't very good. That was when it was a national tour.
Right.
Might be the same course, but Brody said they can do whatever they want to that property, it seems. So it seems like they'll be able to make whatever changes they want.
I mean, it's an electric name. So far, Open at Austin, cool name. Music City Open is a cool name as well.
I'm going to kind of miss the name Open at Belton, though. I always felt like Open at Belton had a certain kind of prestige sound to it.
I don't know. It sounded
Open at Austin, I think, sounds just
it
good.
sounded
I think
Silver
it's the
Series
Open.
to me.
Yeah, I know.
App.
It's just like Belton. It just
How many
sounded
Opens do we have, by the way?
Open at Belton.
Like with it in the name at all?
That's what I'm saying.
We'll do the math later.
Okay,
There's
we
too
have
many.
too many Opens.
Next, we go to the
We need
next
more
Silver
classics.
event at North Cove, the Blue Ridge Championship.
Oh my gosh, we have to power rank. Well, let's get this through the schedule first.
Blue Ridge Championship at North Cove, April 14th through the 16th.
That is
I feel like we got to get
amazing.
there.
Yeah, for sure.
When is this one?
April 14th through the 16th.
When does that happen? Is compared to Nationals? It's probably right after Nationals.
It's got to be around it, yeah.
Dude, that is electric. I'm so glad the Pro Tour is going to North Cove, and I hope that once they see that property, it won't be a Silver Series for long because it's so gorgeous.
Let me pull up when Nationals is. Because I'd imagine Nationals is still at North Cove.
Yeah, I think it is. I looked at it.
Amateur, blah, 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 blah. U.S. Women's, Tim Slinsky, Champions Cup. Congratulations. Oh, frick. That's not the schedule.
They don't have it.
No, they have it.
Just look up National Collegiate Disc Golf Championship 2023.
It's so hard to find.
It's hard to find everything online with disc golf. I swear. Like, why did they do this?
April 5th through the 8th. So the weekend before.
Yeah.
So anyway,
fun.
they go North Cove, then they go straight from North Cove to Appling, Georgia. So essentially, they're doing the reverse of the trip we just made.
Yes.
They're going Tennessee, North Cove, Georgia. We went Tennessee, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. So
we
did it
talk about
first.
South Carolina.
We don't talk about South Carolina. Then they go Champions Cup in Appling, Georgia. They go out to the Jonesboro Open. Then they go the OTB Open. Then they go up to the silver event, Beaver State Fling. Then they go to the first Elite Plus event,
Now,
Portland
what is
Open.
that?
I'll explain that later. Then they go Dynamic Disc Open, Des Moines, Preserve. Then they go to Canada for a silver event, the Discmania Open.
That's cool.
Then they go to Norway. The Sula Open got upped to an elite event.
Oh.
Yeah. Then they go from Norway to Finland for the European Open, which is now happening every year.
Yes.
Apparently.
God bless.
Thank
God
goodness.
Bless. Thank goodness.
Then they come to the second Elite Plus event, Ledgestone. Then they go to Idlewild. And then this is where it gets really confusing. The playoffs start, but not really, at D-Glow. Because then we go to a silver series right after, silver event at Rochester. Then we go to Worlds. Then we go back into playoffs at MVP Open. Then we go U.S. Women's. Then the next weekend we go U.S. DGC. So women are going to go throw pink, or USW DGC, then throw pink back to back.
What?
And then playoff Pro Tour Championship.
I can't tell you how awful that schedule gets at the end.
What I told Brody is it seems like actually doesn't seem like it's obvious that the Pro Tour just doesn't have control over the schedule.
Why on earth would you put Worlds in the middle of the playoffs?
So that's where Green Mountain Championship was. And they just replaced Green Mountain Championship with Worlds, like right on it.
You just can't do that.
Well, what sucks is, so European Open's July 20th through the 23rd.
Yeah.
End of the season's October 5th through the 8th. That's the last major.
Yeah.
That's like, 2 months and like a week? And there's 3 majors in that stretch. 3 out of the 4 majors happen between the last week of July and the first week of October.
So it goes April, then July, then August, then October?
August through September. August 30th, September 3rd, and then October.
It's not that crazy.
But like when you have 4 majors and you're going to go April.
I think the weirdest one is the women's U.S. getting chucked in there at the end, right after Throw Pink.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Right before Throw Pink.
Oh, right before Throw Pink.
So basically, US Women's,
the fake U.S. Women's, and then the real U.S. Women's right after.
Yeah, bang, bang.
Okay.
It's like, hey, if we're going to go down, if we're
That's
gonna be
the
like,
most despicable thing.
if we're going to squeeze that into the schedule there and it's the U.S. Women's Disc Golf Championship, what if we just like pushed it back a week and made it at Throw Pink?
Okay, now, so basically the back end of the schedule is a bit of a dumpster fire, but I mean, all the events sound good.
Yes.
Now explain to me the plus.
So the plus events, it seems like they don't Brody had a good take on it. I think he's probably right. It doesn't really seem like they're going to be more points. They're going to be 4 rounds with a cut. They're going to have increased media coverage
So
and an
tester
increased
events.
purse. What Brody thinks is that this is the Pro Tour slowly rolling out what all elite events will look like. 4-round tournaments with a cut.
They're testing their format.
But essentially, a plus event is like the higher end. So that's why they did Portland and Ledgestone. And so bigger purses, additional media focus, elevated spectator events.
And are the playoff ones considered
Brody,
pluses as well?
No. But they're gonna have the exact same things. It's just
okay.
The
so they're on the
difference
same level.
the difference between the Elite Plus and the playoff is
Just the
playoffs
title
you
playoff.
can't drop playoff events points wise. You can't drop an Elite Plus.
Okay.
But when I commented on the Pro Tour and I basically said, what's the point of putting a silver series after a playoff event?
Yeah.
Because like what the heck does that make any sense? They responded to me and it sounded like D-Glow's not gonna have a cut field. It sounded like how they put it, the D-Glow is basically just going to have increased points, increased purse. You can't drop it, but everyone can play. Then they'll cut the field at MVP. So to me, I'm like, why is it a playoff event? Like, why? I don't understand starting the playoffs and then having a silver event, which also the silver event.
To be fair, the first
Rochester got screwed. Let's call it that. Let's first off say that. Rochester got absolutely screwed by the schedule because you're in Milford, Michigan. World Championship starts August 30th on 2 hard courses.
Nobody is
Rochester Flying Disc Open ends on the 27th.
Nobody is playing that.
So if you play the Rochester Flying Disc Open you have 2 days to prepare for 2 courses for the World Championship.
You are going to see the weakest field of all time. I'm not even kidding you. I think that'd be the weakest Silver Series field of all time.
It makes no sense to play it.
Because why on earth, if you're going to play Worlds, you are going to go head towards Worlds as early as possible in Vermont.
Because like if you don't play
pit
Rochester,
stop at a Silver Series.
If you don't play Rochester, that gives you like half a week to travel from Michigan to Vermont, and then several days to prepare and learn 2 courses.
That field's going to be bad.
So Rochester got absolutely screwed. And like I don't really think there's much you can do because like
don't know why they
the
put that on the
27th is a Sunday. So then the 28th, 29th, World starts on Wednesday. So basically, if people play the event, they'll have to leave from Rochester, go straight to Vermont, practice Monday, Tuesday, start Wednesday. If someone played Rochester for Worlds,
tough.
which is like
brutal.
It's not even like, oh, but if I play the silver event, I can get more points because it's like, well, Worlds is worth 125% more points.
Yeah.
And a Silver Series is worth like not as many points.
Worlds
so.
in Vermont's going to be hype.
Worlds in Vermont's always hype. Wish they could do it a different time of year, but
European Open being back is hype.
yes, there's a lot to be hyped about.
There's a lot to be hype about. Just the end of that schedule is going to be really weird.
It's gonna be very weird. It's gonna be very weird. I don't like with 4 majors. I would really like them to be evenly spaced. I don't feel like that's too much to ask, but apparently it is.
Because like I don't mind them not doing a major until when's the first major?
April. That's fine.
That's fine because I like
you have
them.
February, March, April. Then you go May, June, July. That's fine.
Yeah, where's the problems? Where I'm asking you.
Well, it's just back to back to back. You go July, August, October. Boom, boom, boom.
But what is
this year? Worlds, I think, was European Open was earlier or something. It felt better this year.
I think if you slide European Open,
I think European Open should be like beginning of July.
That's what makes it tough, though.
It's because it's the end of July.
Yeah.
Or Worlds should be May. Something has to happen.
I like Worlds towards the end of the season.
Then European Open needs to be earlier, I think.
I think maybe you could slide that earlier. Yeah.
April, and you have
probably
all
like
of May,
after,
all of June, all of July.
They should just do it after Portland. After Portland, before they go to DDO, that's when they should go to Europe.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Or that'd be in June. That'd be too early.
I don't think so. To go Europe in June, that'd be perfect. Maybe when was European Open this year? Let's look at that.
It was in June, wasn't it? Or was it in July? I don't know.
This year it didn't feel weird. It was end of July this year. When was Worlds this year?
End of August?
No, is it end of August? You know, if you search 2022 World Championships, it doesn't bring up disc golf.
I don't like the thing is
it was the same weekend.
Yeah.
What is going on?
I don't
like it.
I just don't.
When I look at it on a whole schedule, I hate it. But when I just lived it wasn't bad.
That's what I'm saying. Because Hunter, like, you're not going to get unexcited. You're not going to be like, oh, we just had European Open, now Worlds is coming up. You're going to be like, frick, yeah, Worlds is coming up. So like, I think that's what you're seeing it on schedule, and it doesn't look logistically good. But when you're living it, you're like,
it felt fine.
That's what I'm saying. Because it's just another major.
I just don't like how 3 of our 4 majors happen in a 2-month span when the season's so long. I think what happens is I get uninterested in this middle section. Maybe that's what it is. Because European Open, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 events before Worlds. And then before the European Open, Champions Cup, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 events before European Open. And then Worlds to USDGC, we have 1 event that MPO plays.
I see your point.
I think that's more what it is.
I mean, there definitely could, but yeah.
This middle chunk of the season just gets like, it's a grind because there's nothing to break it up.
You can tell there's a lot of struggle in the schedule for like how they are able to make it work with the tour and what the PDGA wants and whatnot.
I think what happens is the PDGA doesn't budge on majors. And so then the Pro Tour has to figure out how to schedule their snake with the majors.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because like to me, what makes the most sense
I think they do a pretty good job considering
if
what
the
they're
Pro
working
Tour
with.
started in Florida, came up the East Coast to like Georgia, and then went over across the Southwest, Texas, West Coast, up to the Northwest, down to the Midwest, then back over. Like that makes more sense. Right now, we start on the West Coast, snake through Texas to the East Coast, then like have 1 event to get from Appling, Georgia to California. There's just Arkansas in the middle. So it goes boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And then we're snaking back across. So like right now we're doing this weird Z when it could just be a loop. Doesn't really matter. But yeah, Elite Plus events. Let's count the Open names. Let's count Opens.
Oh yeah. How many Opens do you have?
Are we gonna count Silver Series?
Yeah.
So if it has Open in the name at all.
Open in the name.
All right, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
That's too many.
15 of, I believe there's 22 events.
I think let's power rank.
The opens?
Best names. So you have the Open, right? You have the Classic.
Oh, we're power ranking best general names.
Yeah, like let's say like if you were gonna name a Lynchburg tournament, your options would be, I would say you have the Lynchburg Classic, the Lynchburg Open or Open at Lynchburg. You then have also the Lynchburg Championships, and then you could. What are there any other ones they use?
What about the Lynchburg Fantastic?
Just like
I think Classic always sounds good.
Classic. I agree.
Well, because
Classic
I
is the
think
first
Classic
thing.
is what we're missing.
Like,
in
there's
the
no
schedule.
Classic. No Classic.
There's some Championship and there is some
Like
Open.
MVP Open at Maple Hill sounds fine. I think you could have went the Austin Classic.
Yeah, no, that's what
The Music City.
Well, the Austin Classic. The problem is it's not like you almost need like Music City Classic. Now that sounds better because it's been around.
I feel like Music City Championships. I don't know.
The problem is the word like the
word
idea,
Open just kind of works.
Well, the
Dynamic
it
Disc
does.
Classic, that could be fine.
The idea behind Open is that anybody can play in it. Like that's why the U.S. Open in golf is called the U.S. Open.
That's why that makes sense for there to be
And
15
so it
disc golf
does make
tournaments.
sense that there's that many disc golf tournaments. But in the future, when they establish tour cards and it's no longer Open, then all of a sudden the name doesn't make sense anymore. Because in golf, like the U.S. Open, it's because there's local qualifiers and there's ways to get in if no matter who you are. And that is the case in disc golf right now. So I guess it makes sense why there's so many Open names. But like, guys, I just like if it were me and I'm like setting up a new name and I'm like,
We need a Classic. We
like,
don't have a
yeah,
Classic. We
that's
need
what
a
I'm
Classic.
saying. Hall of Fame Classic used to be, that was what owned it. It's like, I'm just looking at the schedule and I'm like, why would I name it after the Open?
Is that what we
The European Classic.
do? We make New London a
Let
pro
me-
stop and call it the New London Classic.
Let me look up.
The New London Classic has a good name.
Let me
to
look
it.
up the PGA Tour schedule and see if
Count the Opens.
see if we're missing like any names that.
Championship, Classic, Open. That's
Because
a
like
good
I
three.
think they overuse Open. I think everybody overuse Open. So we have the championship. We have the President's Cup, the Sanders, another championship, then an Open, then another championship, then another Cup, then another
We don't
championship,
have any cups.
then another championship, then
have
an
the Champions
Open,
Cup.
then a Classic, then a Challenge,
We have a challenge.
then a shootout. Oh, we need a shootout.
We need a shootout.
We need a shootout. Where's the San Diego
we
shootout?
need the Texas State Shootout. Is what we
Yeah,
need.
let's
The
get a
Texas State
shootout. Wow. Then they have another Champions, then another Open. Then they have one that's literally just called the American Express. That's the name.
That's sick.
The Farmers Insurance Open.
We need the Discraft.
Then they call. Then they have the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro Am. They just call that one the Pro Am.
Ledgestone could probably drop the word
Open
open.
Invitational. There's another good one.
But there's no actual invitationals to disc golf.
Well, yeah, there is Champions Cup.
Oh, we call it Champions Cup Invitational. There you go. Add the word
Another
invitational,
classic,
but then we have
another
Cup
Open.
and Invitational.
Yeah, it doesn't sound good.
used.
There's another Invitational, Championships. They use Championship a lot more, but
there's a lot less
Classic.
Opens.
There's a lot more Classics, and then there's another Challenge. I think we need a Challenge and a shootout.
We do need a shootout.
And
I
some
think
more
we need-
Classics.
I think we need.
Here's what I think.
They use a
happens.
lot of
I
championships.
think we have the Classic at Idlewild.
Okay.
I think Ledgestone drops the word open. It's just Ledgestone.
Not the Idlewild Classic.
Could be Idlewild Classic. Either way,
Okay.
I kind of like the Classic at.
I do. Okay.
I don't know. It just
I
I'm,
like
I'm
it.
picturing like a really old school '90s crew neck.
Yeah.
The Classic at Idlewild.
Yeah.
And then I think we go Texas State Shootout.
Okay.
Mhm.
I do like that.
That sounds so
yeah,
good.
That sounds good.
And some of the other opens like just kind of got to stay. Like you could go Jonesboro Championships. That's fine. I feel like Portland isn't Portland's like keep Portland weird. It's like
No, it's
Portland.
Austin.
That's awesome. Yeah.
What's Portland has something.
Might be the same, but Austin is definitely keep.
I think
Austin
You're right.
weird.
You're right. It is, but Portland has Portland. What is that called? Like their
Their mantra.
mantra.
I don't know.
There's places.
Or their slogan. Like I would look up their slogan. Maybe.
Slogan. I think that's what I was looking for. Portland slogan. The city that works.
That can't still be it.
I just could have keep Portland weird. Is a popular slogan that appears on bumper stickers, signs, public. Yeah,
So
keep Portland
apparently,
weird.
there's a lot of cities that are trying to keep themselves weird.
So like, I think Portland should have
Keep
a weird
Lynchburg
name.
weird.
I think Portland should have a weird name, or Austin, because like
Make it the
this is
Portland Challenge sounds pretty good.
Portland Challenge.
I want to
fine.
see Challenge, and I want to see Shootout is so good.
What about the throwdown at Austin?
That's good too. A throwdown.
We had the battle for Bedford. You could have the battle for something.
Yeah, I just want to like stop.
The battle for Belton.
Enough of the open thing.
the battle for Belton?
Yeah, we give permission. You can the battle for like. I know there's bias, but Battle for Bedford is an electric tournament name. It really
That's
is.
something I would like to say.
Go ahead.
It'd be kind of cool if a manufacturer sponsored tournament did name the tournament after one of their discs. So you had like the Buzz Open or something like that.
That would be
or
a
like,
power play.
Yeah, I feel like
it should be
the Destroyer Open,
the
something like that. The
Great
Destroyer
Lake
Classic.
Challenger.
The Get Freaky Zone, Get Down. The what?
The Great Lake Open.
The Challenger Challenge? The Chally
Challenger.
Challenger?
No,
the
Chally
Challenge.
That would just be everyone's plays with the Challenger.
The Chally OS Challenge?
The Challenger, like you could have like Great Lakes Challenger. Like you know what I'm saying? Like you could
make it a
something
pun
out.
almost?
Or like I don't think you want to use Predator.
I just think it'd be
The Emporia Felon.
No. The Emporia Escape?
That's not bad.
or like you could do
Emporia
like
Escape.
I think they should make
If
us.
you wants to get the heck out of
I
it.
think they should make us the
I love
naming
Emporia.
committee.
you could do like the Rancho Rock Open. I mean
The Ranch.
Rancho Cucamonga
something.
Open.
Masters Cup's gone.
Cucamonga.
That's another thing.
The Donna Pace
we noticed.
Classic. I think we just have to wait till it's like some people start
Donna Pace,
dying
yeah.
more.
Why is there not a steady? They used to have a steady ed something, didn't they?
That's the Steady Ed Memorial. Isn't that the
Masters
Cup?
No, it wasn't Masters Cup. It was like the Masters Championship or
The
something.
Steady Ed Memorial was
we
a
need
thing.
we need to add steady ed somewhere in here.
We need more memorial. Yeah, I think we should. There needs to be more memorials.
OTB Open needs to sacrifice
Whenever
their name
Donna
and be
Pace
the Steady
dies,
Ed
we'll
Memorial.
name something after him. But right now,
USDGC will turn into the Donna Pace duel.
the duel.
Donna
That's
Pace
another good
duel.
one. Come on, people! Like just get
Discmania-
more original. Do you see?
Discmania should have been the
do you see
Discmania
how it
duel.
took us like 10 minutes to come up with all these cool names?
The Discmania duel.
and you're all like,
in
the open,
Canada?
the open, the
Frick.
open, the open, the open.
Um,
I would if I
Masters
were
Cup.
Discmania, I would have just made
Masters
it.
Cup is gone.
I would have just made it the Canadian Open presented by Discmania.
That's a big storyline. Masters Cup's
Masters
gone.
Cup is
completely.
gone?
Oh, it's completely gone.
Not a silver
What
event,
is-
not anything.
Oh my gosh!
What?
It's almost like take this comment section. It's almost like they realized that those courses were not that good.
That's what I said. I said it on debate night.
Take
I
that.
said someone
Oh.
high up, someone
oh my
high
gosh,
up
bro.
must have agreed with us. And Brody's like, well, what if
Everybody-
Brody's like, well, it could have been maybe the coverage was bad. That's what they'll say. I'll say they do it at Northwood.
Yeah,
If the
everybody.
courses is good enough, if the courses are good enough, they find a way.
If she wanted to, she would.
I'll say this:
Isn't that
Daylaw
what they say
looks
on
like
TikTok?
Daylaw looks like a very fun place that I would love to go play Daylaw. I'd probably get stoned if I showed up on the property, but I would love to go play Daylaw for fun. It is not a tour course.
It's not a tour course. It's
That's
a
that.
great local course.
But they're
It's
just
not a
completely
tour
getting
course.
rid of the Masters Cup.
Masters
they're
Cup's
not
gone. There's only
duplicating?
one event in California. Period.
Wow.
It's the OTB Open.
Wow.
That's it.
Tough
That's
for
it.
California.
That is kind of tough for California. Like you would think they would at least have like the San Francisco, Golden Gate, whatever it was.
I don't
I
know.
think the Golden Gate Classic was a classic. Was that
I
a
think it was
classic?
the Golden Gate Open.
Oh my gosh, bro!
Golden
It was the San Francisco's.
San Francisco Open. That's what it's called. It was
Yeah.
at Golden Gate Park.
Oh my gosh,
Like you would think they'd at least have that as a Silver Series or something.
That's crazy.
But
Disc golf is
California
just
won.
well, disc golf is just an East Coast thing,
it is kind
It
of
is.
a Southeast thing, really, when you think about it.
It's just an East Coast sport.
Yeah, it really is.
Eastern time is how the world runs, so it just makes sense.
Yeah, the tour. It makes sense for the tour to be as Southeast heavy as it is. Probably should be a little more.
I mean, the whole East Coast, really.
Why we even go to the Midwest or West Coast? Think how much easier tour life would be if they just stayed in like
Stayed
Virginia,
on the
North
East.
Carolina, Georgia, Florida,
Georgia, Florida line.
and maybe venture into Tennessee and Kentucky.
I cannot wait until this podcast is
Our
over
state
so that I can tell
demographics
you
are
guys the
active.
joke that I thought of earlier.
Our state demographic is shifting dramatically as this podcast goes on right now. All of the West Coast listeners are like phasing
I'm pretty
out.
sure most of our haters are in the West Coast, anyways.
I've never been to the West Coast.
Probably just
I'm
because of what I
I'm
said
about
about
to
Daylaw
get. I'm
forever
about to
ago.
get as close to the West Coast as I've ever gotten.
I played Golden
at the
Gate
end of this
Park. It was a
month.
great course.
When
Love
I go
it.
to
Sean
Vegas,
Jack showed me
that'll
around.
be the closest I've been.
It was an awesome course. I'd love to get back out there. I do want to play Daylaw. I probably will show up in a disguise.
I would rather play.
I feel like
What is the
La
other-
Mirada.
La Mirada. I'd rather play
I
La
want to play La
Mirada.
Mirada too.
Than
And
Daylaw.
Oak Grove. First course.
I feel like going to Daylaw would be a nostalgic feel because I've seen it so much and
Yeah.
only on YouTube.
I feel like I'd show up and Rockin' to the Bronx or whatever it's called. It's like, matter of fact, though, we just start playing.
Macro,
It just starts
macro
playing over the
mama.
Yeah, like,
loudspeakers.
that's just always playing on that course.
That's so funny. You got out there in the first
That's
group on the
so
tee. It's like,
funny.
yeah, dude, we're doing we're doing like our own like champs versus chumps with DX discs only.
Yeah.
Dude,
Just what- that's the only
those
way you play out
videos-
there.
Those videos were like were like YouTube heaven whenever you first get into disc golf. It's
true.
like it doesn't get any better than watching this.
It's true.
Central Coast, baby.
YouTube heaven.
Does Central Coast still do coverage?
I don't know.
What?
Central
Are they
Coast.
not? Are they not getting any coverage deals?
I don't know. Well, I mean, Ian does commentary. Johnny Football, who's like one of their main camera
But they
guys,
were
is like works
they
for the
were
Pro
part
Tour.
of the Pro Tour package for a while
Central
there,
Coast
right?
Disc Golf. They were, but I'm wondering if Ian owns it. So I wonder if they just shut
Are
it
they
down.
just done?
Videos. They did the main state championship, challenge at Goat Hill,
Are they doing Silver Series?
Daniel Bowe Memorial.
So they're not. It's just GK Pro and Gatekeeper and Jomez.
College Nationals.
That
think
kind of
that if
happened without me realizing it.
I think
Wow.
if I heard that Central Coast song
Central
right
Coast
now,
is just
I would
gone.
go into anaphylactic
Do they
shock.
still play at the beginning?
I'm sure. All
Like,
right.
let's
know.
turn it up, huh?
If
R-
I might
RIP
actually
Central
go
Coast.
into nostalgia shock if
All
you
right.
play that song.
This is the Myrtle Beach Open, round 3, part 2. Austin Hannum, Corey Ellis, Austin Turner, Joel Freeman.
Nice
There's an ad.
Wi-Fi.
All right, here we go.
I'm getting nervous that it's not playing yet. Hunter,
Nothing's playing.
Are your speakers
Everything's broken.
My speakers are broken. That was anticlimactic.
Are your speakers actually broken?
Am I connected to Bluetooth or something? This thing got Bluetooth? What was that from? Oh, iCarly. No. Yeah, it's Drake and Josh. Drake and Josh.
Nice.
Remember?
Yeah.
Anyone?
Hurry
Really?
up.
I'm connected to the board.
We'll disconnect.
I did. Okay. Jeez. Give me a second here. All right. Let me go back to the beginning.
I'm
Matter
so
of fact,
nervous.
pterodactyl in the micro in macro my mind.
They got rid of it, man. I'll go back to a 2015 video. We'll get it.
How long ago did this happen?
Dang, man. I'm gonna get. I'm
It can't be
tearing
that
up
long
right
ago.
now.
Don't go back too far.
I'm
I am
just going to
tearing
sort by
up right
most
now.
popular, and we'll just go.
I can't believe they would do that.
I can't.
Maybe
even.
they got like
And
a
they-
cease and
and
desist.
It'd be one thing if they changed it for something cool, but they changed it for what is that? Like yoga music? Oh,
Heck
yeah. Oh yeah.
We're probably going to get a copyright strike.
I don't care. Keep that crap playing.
Did anybody ever listen to the entire song?
Pterodactyl and a macro.
I never
I don't know
listened
the
to that.
lyrics at all. He links it right here. SoundCloud, baby. Rocking to the Brock.
Rocking
Unique
to the Brock.
syntax. Such
So
man,
dang, dude.
respect.
I'm gonna go back and watch one of those videos.
Yeah, we need to go back and just let's just recreate them all,
Let's recreate them all. Yeah.
Yeah.
and we'll play the music at the beginning.
Recreate them all.
All right, it's time for a fan favorite segment. Is there anything else with the
Nope.
schedule?
Nope.
No, I think we said our part.
All right. Time for the fan favorite segment. Travis's trivia. What do you got this week?
All
What do you got this week, Trav?
right, guys.
Come on,
well,
Trav.
here's the thing I've got for us this week.
Yeah, baby. Tell
Name that price.
No.
The price is right.
So we're doing more
Name that
USDGC
disc.
stuff because
USDGC.
it deserves 2 weeks in a row.
I feel like Connor's gonna wreck me in USDGC trivia.
Why?
No,
You're from Charlotte.
you're gonna do much better at this.
It's in your blood. You should know.
So here's how this is going to work.
It looks like you have a bottle of cleaner.
It does look like that.
We are going to go holes 1 through 18, and you are going to
gosh.
guess. Each of you are going to guess the distance of the hole.
With the new hole, like the changes that
I will,
happen.
and when there is a change, I will announce the change to remind both of you to make sure it's fair.
Okay.
So it's going to be as close as you can get.
Without going over.
No, you can go over.
Okay.
And then so that's your points counting up. Obviously, you don't want points like a lot of these games. And then if you can guess the state that is assigned to that hole,
frick.
State?
every hole
Every
has
hole
a
has a
state.
state.
How did I not know that?
Really?
I did not know that.
Virginia's number. I'm not
Well,
gonna
then
tell
Konner is going to be guessing every single one.
you. Well,
That's
I only
like a
know
very.
one.
They've
I
all,
only know one. I just know Virginia because I'm proud.
I
Of it.
have like
you only know one.
I only know Virginia.
Then we're going to remove that clause.
Virginia's number 10.
I thought from my memory that Hunter knew like all of them.
how did I not
Give
know?
me just
How did
give
I
me a
not know
hole,
that?
and I'll just tell you what state I
Hole
think
one.
it was. Hole 1's California.
No, it's
Save,
Maryland.
no idea.
Okay, I thought you knew all of them, so I thought it'd be interesting. But okay,
No.
we'll remove that. So we'll just go
No,
with the.
I just know Virginia because I'm proud. We're hole 10.
I'm like
Are we hole 10?
embarrassed.
Yes,
Yeah, Virginia's hole 10.
I'm like
We
embarrassed.
will-
Who's hole 5?
we will go the
Kentucky.
distance. What's funny is
Ooh. Which
Pennsylvania
one
is hole 9, which
You
is
don't
right.
know.
I don't know. Is Kentucky hole 5?
No, it's Texas.
Ah,
North Carolina is hole 4.
Which one is
which
South
is like the
Carolina?
worst hole.
yeah.
of course.
Y'all got fricked. North Carolina got absolutely fricked this year.
Which one's South Carolina?
They might not even have one.
No, South
What?
Carolina definitely
Oh
has one. It's
no,
in
they're
South
18.
Carolina.
Yeah, it's 18.
Oh, okay.
There's
Should be
several states
17.
don't.
17
Which one's
is
got
Ohio.
17? Oh, OH.
I-O.
West Virginia,
You.
New Hampshire, Kansas, Indiana, Alabama.
All right, let's play this game.
So, all right.
Yeah.
We're going to start with hole one. Hole one has no
Konner, you go
changes. It's the same hole one as there was last year.
I feel like it's. Sorry, that's
not a
really
number.
aggressive. I think it's in the 200s because I don't think it's 300.
Okay.
I think it's like 265.
I was thinking 250. So I'll just say 250.
The answer is 283.
All
Okay,
right, Connor's
okay.
closer.
So Konner, I think I'll just keep score by. So Konner was 18 away there.
Good luck. Keep it
No,
scoring.
I just have to. I mean, you guys will get close on.
I was 33
most
feet
of them.
away.
Yeah.
This next one's going to be impossible because it's a new hole. Par
So
3.
hole two. So
They
hole,
shortened hole 2 to
so
par 3.
hole-
Oh,
two.
that's right.
Yeah, they're
Where's the basket
they're now
now?
teeing off. So the basket's in like it looks like the same place, but
Oh.
you're
No,
now,
it's not because you don't throw over the parking lot.
Yeah, because there's a Mando.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
you are in line, so you know where the house is.
Yes.
So when the
Wait, the pro shop house or the house on the right over the fence?
The like little shed
the little
on
shed
the left in the
on the
middle of the
left.
fairway.
Okay. Yeah.
So you're kind of in line with that, and then the distance back you are is like where the low ceiling starts. So think about your
Okay.
tee shot.
All right,
There's
all
a
right.
low ceiling up ahead. You're like underneath
All right.
where the low ceiling starts is what it looks like from the map here.
Okay, so you're where some like a good bit of drives land. I feel like.
No, it's
You
where
are-
you would.
you are
it's
shorter
like
of that.
If you landed
Okay,
there, you
it's
hit
where
the
a
tree
good
and
bit of
dropped.
my drives land.
I feel like it's like a jump putt off the tee.
Oh, really?
I'm saying 420. 420.
Okay.
Konner.
I think I'm gonna go 380.
The answer is 409 feet.
We're almost pretty.
Oh yeah,
in the
we're
middle.
pretty in the middle.
Yeah, because the old hole is probably like 600 feet.
I don't know.
Probably. I was thinking it was like a 200-foot drive if you hit that tree and dropped.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Connor's at 47. Hunter is at 44.
Oh, get fricked. Well,
That
it's
is
in the
that is
game.
gonna be a very interesting hole.
It's in
All
the
right.
game.
Now this is another. This is one of the only other ones that's gonna be really tough. Hole 3.
It's not the same anymore.
It's not the same. So hole 3.
That's-
That's
Hole 4's gone too.
Why would they get rid of hole 3?
well.
They combined hole 3
In
and 4.
fairness, I like hole 3 a lot, but in fairness, this hole might be sick.
But here's the thing: is the net loss.
I'm disgusted.
Well, because then they brought back the double Mando hole next, that little tiny tunnel one.
oh, why?
So the net loss of hole 3 and 4 being gone. Well, we can talk about this on the USDGC show. And then you bring in that double Mando hole.
Well,
it
at
was a
least they
big
took
loss.
away one of the
It's a big
Mandos.
loss.
Are both good
But yeah,
holes.
I
It's a
agree.
big loss.
It doesn't
big
make
loss.
sense to me. But anyway, so you're teeing off from the same spot. You're up on top of the hill, and then you're going all the way down to where hole 4's basket is. So you're essentially
Okay.
throwing through. So just take a stab at that. It is a par 4 for the MPO and a par 5 for the FPO. That also could give you a hint.
I'll go ahead and go.
Okay.
I think that's like whatever number I say, I feel like might be a stupid guess because I'm
Okay.
having a hard time thinking about it. But I feel like it's around 800, so I'm gonna say.
I was thinking like
800.
715.
The answer is 841 feet.
Oh, great job,
Hey,
Connor.
thank you.
I was just trying to think if I'm standing at hole 3's basket, how far it felt like I'd have to throw to get to 4.
I was thinking.
And I was thinking it was like around 400 feet. So I was thinking
a
hole
little more
3 was like
double.
320, but it's probably like 380.
I was feeling it like it was a little more than double the length of hole 3, and that is kind of a little more.
841 minus 715. Add that to your score of 44. You're now at 170, Hunter.
Well, the game ended after hole 2. So
What are you talking about? Oh, I was like, what? And then Konner, you had 47, and then you get 41. You're now at 88. All right, this is actually kind of another tough one. So hole 4.
I picked up a good bit on that one.
Hole
right?
4 is, you're now in a considerable lead.
Okay.
Hole 4 is the hole that used to be a 2 sets of double Mandos. Now it's just only one single Mando on the left, but it's that same type hole where you're
Here's
throwing
the
in the
thing.
gauntlet.
I want to throw this out there before we do the game. Brody told me the distance of this hole, but what he said and what my mind remembers from me playing the hole are two completely different things.
I think it's pretty accurate to what I remember.
So do I just say what Brody said?
Yeah.
Well,
But what Brody said
But he
does
just
not
told him the
sound
distance.
anywhere close to right.
It sounds right to what I remember from that hole. I mean, I remember throwing a flip up fairway on that hole, or maybe or a mid.
Well, then I feel like I feel like I cheated because he told me it was 340.
Okay, Konner,
well then
it's not 340.
That's what Brody told me.
It's not 340.
So that's right. I feel like it's
I
shorter.
feel like I
than that.
remember saying it shorter.
I feel like if I was going to guess with my heart, I would have said 285.
I was going to say 280, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna say 280.
It's 304 feet.
Okay.
So he
He
misread the T sign.
misread the T sign.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay, well I said 340 because I went with what Brody told me.
I was wondering. It didn't feel like it was that long.
No, that's
watching
when
it.
he said 340, I was like, that can't be the same hole. But then he's like, it's the exact same hole. So when it was the exact same hole, I was thinking, when I threw it for Dean's Cup, I remember like, I'm pretty sure Ryan was throwing a putter, which makes sense. And so I was thinking like 280.
Okay.
Are we doing the whole course or are we going to jump?
No, we're gonna jump because this
Okay.
will take way too long.
Yeah, I was going to say, this could be the rest of the podcast.
Yeah, this will take way too long.
and I would enjoy every second of it.
We'll jump to one to the back 9 now. Well, actually, we'll make one more.
How much is Konner's lead? 110 points?
99 points.
Konner, you want to agree like 30? He can't do the math yet.
So
99.
we'll just jump ahead here. We're gonna go to a rather interesting hole, which is hole 10, the Eagleable par 4.
Okay, so this is on the
I have to
T
think
sign
about-
distance?
I had
Yes.
to think about.
Oh, I hate that.
I had to think about where hole 10 is. I'm having a hard time
It's
thinking
the
of it.
tennis court hole. You can go for the eagle.
Yeah.
So the eagle to go for it is 425 to clear, but that's not how the T sign reads, because the T sign plays out and around. So I think the T sign.
Oh, it plays out and around?
Yeah, so I think the T sign. I'm saying 620.
I'll say. I'm gonna go just to make a little bit of a difference, and not say the same thing as Hunter. I think it could be a little less.
It definitely could be.
So I'm going to say, he said 620. I'll say 590.
It is 549 feet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I had no clue because I just remember when I got to the T sign, I read it and I was like, oh, I can't go there. And then I read to clear was 425. I was like, oh, I can throw that.
Okay.
So I just knew it wasn't 425.
Moving
That's all I
on.
knew.
Let's move on to hole.
How do you think they should do the distance on that? Like, how should disc golf distances be done? Because, like, if it's 420, is it really, if they go middle of the fairway, is it really only 5 something? Or you think they're going
really-
layup and then across?
That hole, yeah, it's such a tricky one because on that hole, I think it'd be too hard because of the wind in particular and the fact that it's a little uphill. It'd be too hard to make it a par 3 because I think if you're going to distance it directly to the pin, it has to be a par 3. If it's a par 4, they have to distance it as if you're throwing to the fairway and then throwing an upshot.
So do you think, what I'm asking is how they distance it. Do you think they're going the intended flight? So, like, you go here and then straight across? Or do you think they're going the entire fairway?
I don't know.
Like, how do you make that decision?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Can you just say it's blank to the pin and then this
Well, that's
to
what they
this
have on
landing
the
zone?
sign. That's how I knew, like, 425.
On the sign, on this new sign, if this is the one they're using, it's not on.
It's
there.
not on there anymore. It used to be
man.
because that's the only reason I went for it. Just because I read it and was like, oh, maybe
I
it's in
don't
the
know.
caddy book they hand out to
Yeah,
players.
maybe. It's a tricky one. All right, we're gonna do 3 more. We're gonna do the last 3 holes. So we're gonna start with hole 16. Hole 16 appears to be the exact same hole 16. OB along the left, Moz sticks just left of the basket, tight OB on the right. But if you remember this hole, it's like it's a little more of a pump. Like it looks really short when you're watching the
Yeah,
pros play,
I
but it's
think-
kind of a pump.
I think it's a right at or above 400. Because I remember thinking, oh dang, I'm gonna have to crush to get there. I might be wrong there, but I'm gonna say it is 425.
Got to gain points on them, so I'm going less. I'm going 380.
It's 390.
Nice.
Okay.
Okay, now to hole 17.
Me?
And we will do this to the A pin, the tucked pin, which is slightly shorter.
Let me go
than
ahead
the
and make
middle
my
pin.
decision in my head so that I'm not choosing the same thing as you on purpose. I have my decision in my
I'm just
head.
saying 240, I think.
Okay. I was going to say 260.
The answer is 249, right in the
Nice.
middle.
Right in the middle.
Nice.
But I got one closer than you.
All right, hole 18. You know it well. Par 4 for the
you go first.
MPO.
My turn.
Par 5 for the FPO.
How many points? How many
Dang.
points is he up?
You're not getting.
Well, how many
back
points
in
is he
it.
up?
Like over 100.
All right.
Yeah.
1,200 feet. Dang, this hole is hard
Well,
because it's hard
I don't actually.
hard to
Hunter, I won't
judge
say that.
distance
Like
on
you
this
could,
one.
I guess, technically get back in.
It would be very impressive.
It's very hard to.
It would
judge
require
distance on
him
this
to
one.
butcher it and me to get it exact.
he would have to make a foolish guess, but
I don't know. It's a hard hole to
it
guess.
is a tough one. I don't know.
I have like 4 different distances in my head.
It is a
It
tough
just
one
depends
to
on what he
guess.
says.
It's really tough to guess.
My guess is going to be 100 in the direction opposite of where I think he's at.
This course is hold on a second. Let me get your exact number of how much you're down.
Dang. This hole is so hard.
It's a par 4, right?
Yeah.
In the position it's in.
You are losing Hunter by 100 and hold on, let me just 113.
113.
So you need like 114 to win difference.
I'm gonna say 570.
I might be able to do it. I think it's 380.
Is it that short?
No, it's not.
Okay.
I think originally it was like it's like 300 to the landing zone. It's probably close. It's realistically probably like 500 feet, but I'll go for what would win it? 460 would win it for me.
What did he say?
He said 570.
570.
So
No, you need-
455 would win it for me.
It's 647 feet.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was no chance.
No.
Well done, Konner.
I was thinking like your
You're
drive,
ghosted.
where you'd want to land on your drive would be around maybe right under 400 feet, and it'd be like another 200.
think-
from
'cause
the
I
pin.
think
That's
the,
why I said that.
I think where that basket was when Sexton won. Like, and remember they had the
It was
middle of the hill?
Way up at the top of the
I
middle.
think
yeah.
that was like, it was under 400.
Was that eagleable when they had it there?
No, it was par 3.
Oh, that's right. That
They
forgot.
shorted to like where the Mando is.
Why would they do that? I think the USDGC, like, here's what happens with the USDGC is like, because it's run by Innova.
It's run by US Disc Golf.
And
Innova doesn't own it.
well, US Disc Golf, whatever. They don't run anything else really that I know of, or they don't run a lot. It doesn't seem like. I don't want to make like crazy statements, but my theory is that because USDGC is their huge focus all year, they get bored. And they just start thinking to themselves, well, what can we change to make it better this year? And they just start changing things that don't need changed. And so that's my theory, though. I think they just get bored. I think if the Pro Tour was in charge of it, they wouldn't have enough time of day to be thinking so much about it that they're like, what would it be cool if we just brought this whole back?
We'll definitely talk about some of the course changes because they've done some fascinating stuff that
This is save it for the preview. Save it
for the preview show. We're getting mighty previewy for USD. We just get so excited
My
We get
most
real
excited
excited.
preview of the
when
year.
USDGC happens.
You're actually not going to be invited.
Yeah, like I'm not actually gonna.
You
be there.
didn't
haven't
qualify. Monday
Konner,
qualifying.
I need you to promise me something.
Today's Monday.
Yeah.
qualifying.
Don't look at the caddy book until you're live on air with us,
Yes, sir.
so that I can show you like some of the changes and just get your like when we just said hole 3, like that type stuff. I want that live on air.
Okay.
So I want to be able to like
won't
show
look at
you
it.
the caddy book and be like, look at what they did here,
All
and
right.
like tell
Look at
you
what
about
they've
different.
done.
You have my word.
Because there's like one more
What's your
like your jaw is gonna be on the floor. Change they did. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, it is.
Dang. I'm excited and
Oh,
scared.
Yeah.
But I think we already mentioned that. I think he already knows about it.
He might not. Do you know
Okay.
about any other changes?
I can't think of any I was horrified by.
If I said like hole
All right, no, just stop.
16, I'm just throwing him off the set. He just
All
told
right.
you hole 16 didn't change.
Okay.
All right. Final talking point for today. This kind of blew up on Facebook and stuff. I don't know what this is. Well, I know this is an outside disc golf publication, Quillette. I don't know anything else about them. This is the first time I've ever seen anything from them. They wrote an article called Disc Golf's Leah Thomas Moment. And then the subheader says, as a biologically male player continues a meteoric rise on the female circuit, women are starting to speak out. What caught my attention, I read most of this, but what caught my attention is there are a few different quotes in here from female competitors, all anonymously.
Did they like give any context to like who the like not who they are, but like where the FPO players are coming from? Like, are they from the tour?
Yes.
What
So
is it?
like this one, for instance, the first paragraph starts, I'll just read the first paragraph. For female professional disc golfers, the July 29th through 31st Discraft Great Lakes Open in Milford, Michigan represented a watershed, marking it the first time in the young sport's history that an Elite Series tournament offered women the same first place prize money as men. It should have been a great moment, one of the female competitors told me once the crowds had gone home. But then the thing ended and the winners weren't a male and a female. It was basically two males. So basically one of the female competitors would allude to someone who played in the tour event Deglo.
Which tells us a little
And
bit.
then farther down here, it says, the current female tour only came onto the scene in 2016. And this one it calls a well-known female pro told me. And then it continues to quote this well-known female pro, which could mean anything.
Yeah, it could mean anything.
Said there'd been a tour going on since 2000, but in those days, even most of the top professionals had side jobs. The men's game was probably economically viable as a full-time occupation by the early 2010s, but the women's game wasn't really viable until a few years ago. So yeah, the timing of this is interesting. It's just all too convenient that now is when, and then in parentheses, trans women decide to jump in and make a splash. So that was quoted to be a well-known female pro. But then farther down, it says this month, 2 of them, talking about female pros, who I'll refer to as Jane and Mary in the reporting that follows, spoke to Quillette on the condition of anonymity. So this one, they actually did an interview, and he quotes them in the article farther down here. First off, he kind of sets the whole scene of what's going on in disc golf, and this is where it starts. This is Mary. I would say one of the biggest advantages of and then I'm assuming, what does it mean in quotes when it has the brackets?
It means they said clarifying a different word, but they're basically telling you what they meant by saying.
Okay, so I'm going to just read it.
It's like if I were to say,
if
I were making a quick quote about you and I said, yeah, he, and I said he,
and then they would put
Hunter
okay.
in parentheses.
So anyway, so that happens in here.
So who knows what word they were using?
I'm going to just read it. I'm going to just read it how they wrote it.
Yeah.
I would say that one of the biggest advantages of the male-bodied players is their ability to scramble in tight situations when a disc goes off the fairway, to just stand there and blast a shot through the woods, Mary tells me. I've seen both trans players, Chloe Alice and Natalie Ryan, do this. They're just standing still and throw the kind of forehand shots that I've never seen a female throw, even under perfect conditions. What makes it worse is that Ryan's form isn't even that good, says Jane.
That's crazy.
If it were, she'd be outthrowing us by even more. So while the rest of us spend years refining our form, trying to keep up and get more distance, she's been in the sport only, 3 years or something? And she's already said publicly, oh, I've got my form down. I don't need to practice that. One time, a friend on tour, another female golfer, told me about Kelly Jenkins throwing a 320-foot thumber, a difficult overhand shot launching over tall obstacles with an unusual grip, at Women's Nationals, Jane adds. And then when people were standing there in disbelief, Jenkins says, haha, softball, telling people that she learned to do this kind of shot from playing softball when she was young. But I know disc golfers who've played softball their whole lives. They've never seen a woman throw a disc like that. So that's pretty much the quotes from these 2 selected out female disc golfers. There's some other stuff in this article we'll talk about because I think there's some other good points that I'm more concerned about than what they said, because anonymity, it's good to finally hear something from the women's field, but you have no idea who it's coming from, and it's only 2 people.
Right.
So, shocker, there's people in FPO that are against it.
Of course.
Shocker. There's also people in FPO that are for it. This article did say they reached out to Paige Pierce and someone else, I believe, later, because Paige had come out in support of Chloe Alice, at that one event we talked about a while ago. It might have been on debate night. The quotes aren't done. Sorry. Jane also says, my experience is that about half of the trans women are really fun to play with, Jane tells me. With the other half, they have this really obvious masculine energy, and so you're constantly being reminded that you're basically playing with an amateur level male. It's gotten to the point that even the players that I personally like who are transgender, I can't watch them play. I don't watch them throw. I don't watch them putt. The side of it reminds me that I'm in an unfair situation, and it makes it hard for me to maintain my mental game. I'm just constantly thinking about, wow, she shouldn't be able to throw that far because that's really bad form, but it went 400 feet. I've been playing sports since I was in kindergarten, Mary says. I was always small, but I didn't care what the sport was. I would take on any girl, any woman. But then with this thing happening now, it's different. No matter how much I work out, that'll never be enough to have the physical advantages of a person who's a male and can be strong without going to the gym. So that's Jane and Mary.
Jane and Mary are heated, for sure.
They're heated over it. Obviously under anonymously.
They're anonymous.
That word, can't do it. And farther down, they allude to there being a what's it called? Like a bunch of petition going around trying to get enough signatures. It's a very long article. If it's something that you're interested in, you can go read it. Remember, I don't know what this Quillette is. I don't know if they're politically charged one way or the other. Or if it's just like a typical news source. I have no idea. This is the only article I've ever read from them. But in it, there's a few other things that, if all true, do concern me. Because, obviously, hearing from the women, they bring forth points that have been brought forth before, right? And those are the points that I think do have to be answered and do have to be discussed. And it's something that, could the whole FPO field feel like this? Yeah, because they also talked about someone who one of the like amateur players who's a little bit more public on Facebook and stuff has lost one of her main sponsors because of this. Because basically they're being silenced if you speak out against it. I'm not for that at all. Period. Whether you're speaking out for it, against it, I really personally do not like that the PDGA and the Pro Tour are silencing every single post that goes out that has Natalie Ryan in it or Chloe Alice. The comments are just being shut off.
I don't have a problem if somebody is like legitimately making personal attacks on the players,
which is happening.
Absolutely. But yes, when there's just people bringing up points that have nothing to do with like a personal attack, they're not calling anybody names, and then that's being silenced, then it's like, how can we create a fair environment for the players and make sure everybody, like the FPO division themselves, are being heard if we're just going to
if they're worried
everything.
about I can't speak my opinion because I might lose my sponsorship.
Literally, if you were an FPO division right now and you were like a top FPO player and you made a statement, like there's a great chance that you're going to be forced to apologize by your company or dropped. Like that's a real thing. So like that's where the trouble is right now with this issue.
Well, it's especially bad because it's in a situation that's new to disc golf, and overall is still a very new thing with sports, where people still don't have answers. Even the big sports still don't have solid answers.
That's the thing. We just need as much transparency as possible.
So whenever you're silencing people for sharing their opinion on it, whenever there hasn't been a declared right or wrong one, then it's not helpful.
No, exactly, because it's a part where like conversations need to be happening. And people can have civil conversations about them, and those conversations need to be allowed to happen. And like as a player, the Pro Tour has come out multiple times talking about how it seems there's a zero tolerance policy. Like if you speak out and what you're saying isn't 100% accepting of the situation, then there's this fear that you could be kicked off the Pro Tour, you could be suspended, your main sponsors could drop you. Basically, your whole livelihood could go to crap because you spoke out about something that concerns you. And there is a way to do it and there's a way not to do it. Like some of the things that they said anonymously in this article, not the best way to say it. I'll be straight up with you. Because some of it, although they do make some good points, and I'd be curious, I've never looked at Natalie Ryan's form and like directly compared it to other people. Jane's got me interested. I'll look at it.
I think the problem with their takes is you can tell they were interviewed when they were really frustrated, like after an event.
Yeah.
So like a lot of their takes are completely based out of there's no science or fact. There's really just observation and frustration.
Yes.
Right? Like I saw somebody throw a forehand I can't throw, and that ticked me off. Like there may be science and fact to that. There's certainly a chance. But that's the thing. The quotes just kind of look like we're just ticked off because we just lost to Natalie Ryan type quotes.
Yeah. Now,
but there could be a lot more behind them. It's just like that's how they came off to me. So I was like, this is important that we hear from the FPO players, but I think he caught them at the wrong time.
Yeah. But what this article did do is it piqued it opened my eyes to some things that I think we can all agree with need to be addressed immediately. Because in the current state, up to this point, correct me if I'm wrong, I was under the impression that in order to be accepted, like to play an FPO, there was some type of checking going on of the hormone levels, of stuff like that. Because it's an obvious, like at least to me, it's pretty obvious. Like if you just step into FPO and you haven't went through any process, you're not on hormones, none of that, you'd be at an advantage.
That's undisputed. Yeah.
I think that's a pretty obvious straight fact.
Sure.
So this player, Jennifer Castro, posted in Disc Golf Debate Group, uncensored Disc Golf Debate Group, because, again, so much censorship was happening, they created an uncensored one. This email back and forth with the PDGA that basically, I'll read most of it. Take it as you will. It seems like that's not true. So basically, they were asking, like, how they could register for the female division, and this is the PDGA's medical committee's response back. Sorry, it took me a few days to get your email. I was doing commentary at Pro World and traveling back to my job. The PDGA has a policy on the requirements to play in gender-based, i.e. female divisions, which is found here. If you meet the criteria to play in the gender-based division, then you can register with the PDGA as F or female. You're under no obligation to discuss your personal information with anyone. No one may challenge your eligibility to play in a female division unless they can provide evidence that you may not meet the requirements. Note that a player's appearance is not a basis for any challenge. PDGA has a policy protecting the privacy of individuals and community guidelines prohibiting members from inappropriate behavior. This is the part. Some transgender women have voluntarily elected to provide proof of their eligibility to the medical committee in confidence. Let me read that again. Some transgender women have voluntarily elected to provide proof of their eligibility to the medical committee in confidence. So that line there tells me
That not all.
it's not a requirement.
Yeah, and they volunteered.
They volunteered. So they basically, and I believe Natalie Ryan is one of those that has voluntarily shown.
That's certainly what they've said. They've certainly said
I believe
that.
she said that. So I'm not questioning Natalie Ryan, but I'm questioning the process as a whole.
Yeah.
Because to me, that's a huge loophole that could be very, very easily jumped through. And as we'll see later in this article, there's a link to this TikTok from Chloe Alice, who is another touring professional, that was talking about, the TikTok says the hardest thing about transitioning, and in it, she admits to not, missing her pills, basically.
Forgetting to take them.
Confession on Instagram to neglecting to take the prescribed testosterone suppressing quote unquote pretty pills, as Alice describes them, for days at a time. Which again, just goes to this is people are playing for this as their job. This is their livelihood.
Right.
So to me, this is similar to if I'm going in and I'm trying to be on the pro tour, that should be something where to get through these processes, you go through regular testing and stuff to make sure you're meeting the levels.
That's what I'm saying. If it would have it seems to me with the TikTok there where she just wasn't taking testosterone suppressing pills for days at a time. If that's how the
days at a time probably won't.
I'm
make
not
a
an
difference,
expert
but
on how any of this works, but if it is a situation where you can go off of medication for a period of time and get testosterone back, then there has to be testing before every single event.
But it also
or very regular testing.
According to this email, it doesn't seem like there's ever initial testing to begin with.
Yeah.
So this is a legitimate question, and I'm not saying anyone is doing this. I am asking a legitimate question as a PDGA member and someone who is trying to understand the situation. What is preventing me from signing up for an FPO tournament right now?
Nothing, it sounds like.
Nothing, it sounds like, correct?
Yeah.
Am I wrong in that?
No.
And
did you read the quote about where it said where they basically asked about that and said somebody would have to present evidence and they can't do it based on appearance?
Yeah, so I was always under the assumption that I have to give my records to see doctors, etc. But what if I get challenged? Do I see an official or what's going on? And then Elaine King responded and said, if there is a challenge, it would need to be supported by evidence that you are transgender, not based on looks or ability. If it was not, the challenge would not be accepted. Any valid challenge comes, previously I read where it can't be based on looks.
So basically,
any valid challenge comes to the medical committee. You may proactively submit the form with required evidence.
If you were to challenge somebody's what they claim to be, you have to have evidence, and it can't be based on looks or ability. So you have to basically
you have to know something.
You have to go to their doctor and get the doctor to make a HIPAA violation to give you information.
Essentially.
Am I missing something there?
That's what it sounds like.
Or you have to be able to watch them 24/7 without blinking to see that they didn't take it.
Well, because to me, as I understood the situation previously, then we work through it, we figure it out, we follow the IOC,
but there's just nothing
all
being
of that.
done.
But if we're not double check, first off, shocker, the PDGA is not double checking.
Yeah,
of
the
course.
people who won't make a statement about a
shocker.
suspension or anything.
But the fact that it's not being checked, it's hurting. To me, that hurts Natalie Ryan's reputation.
Right.
Yeah.
Natalie Ryan has, from what I understand, followed all the guidelines and submitted the medical documents.
If you were a
all of
player
that.
that was following the guidelines, you would.
But this raises everything into question,
Right.
Because now it's just
like you're saying, there's steps to this, right? So
yes.
the step that we all thought we were at was making sure that even with all of the testing, is it still fair? That's where we thought we were. But apparently where we are is we actually need to make sure the testing is being done.
Yeah. So now we're back a step.
We're a step below where we thought we were.
So we're back a step. So now I'm on the level of hey, can we get to where we thought we were? Because statistically, if I have to do nothing, I just sign up for FPO, I am one of the best FPO players in the world. By my rating.
By his rating, yeah.
By my rating, I am one of the best FPO players in the world.
Right.
And if this is telling me that I can't be questioned, I don't have to submit anything to the PDGA, I just have to sign up
And here's what
and just lie.
and-
Me personally, because I view myself as a man, I would have to lie.
And these days, what it means to be one of the best in the world is means you're going to make 6 figures.
Yeah. So I would lie, and then I'd be able to take
Like-
all this stuff from the FPO division
Right.
as it currently stands. I wouldn't have to go through anything else.
Yeah.
That is a huge problem, and I don't understand how anyone is letting that.
Well,
now,
the problem
again,
is it goes back to the accountability. Who's in charge of
Yes.
the PDGA? Who's going to enforce that change? Who's going to make them responsible and accountable?
the players
The
have
players.
to be.
But they are scared. It's
They're
like
scared.
it's a big
It's a big
it's a big cycle. Yeah.
But that's my thing is I am not accusing anyone that is currently on tour. Chloe Alice obviously posted a TikTok. She wasn't thinking about ramifications of what she was saying, but
It did
obviously
reveal things.
Yeah, it revealed stuff. I'm not accusing her of regularly going for months at a time to where testosterone can build up and all of that. I'm not accusing anyone of anything.
The problem isn't
except for
with
the
the players.
PDGA.
Yeah.
I'm accusing the PDGA of not doing their job because right now there is a huge gaping hole that would allow someone who, because I'm 970 rated, right? There are players that are better than me, 990, almost 1,000 rated, that really can't make it on MPO tour,
yeah.
but could clean house in the FPO tour, and you're not keeping them accountable to prevent them from doing that.
Right.
That's unfair. I think everyone,
Anybody,
agendas aside,
anybody can
everything,
admit
you
that
can
there
admit
has to be a process.
that's unfair. There
Right.
needs to be a testing process, and
Right.
I was under the assumption that testing process was in place.
Yeah.
But it seems like it's like, well, if you want to submit them, you can just kind of get ahead of the whole thing, but you don't have to.
And the
You
thing
can
is,
go
the
tear up the pro
PDGA,
tour, and then
like,
when there's a question,
here's the
then
thing,
you have
the
to.
PDGA, it comes back to like if there was a system in place and if they were listening to us and being like, that's not how it works, then tell us how it works. Give us clarity. They never give us clarity on anything.
The email straight from the head of the
You're
medical
right.
committee.
You're right. But as I'm saying, like if we're misunderstanding something, then like they need to explain it to us because right now we are only allowed to draw conclusions with the evidence we have, and the evidence is pretty condemning.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like,
Like,
I don't know what else that could
that's
mean. I
right
read
from
you the
their
email.
mouths, right? That's what I'm saying. It's hard to think that we're misinterpreting what's happening, which is basically they don't know what to do. They know they don't have the manpower.
I think what it is they know they need to have the testing in place, so they put the policy out there.
Right, but they can't enforce it.
So to discount, like to make it where someone wouldn't do it,
Right.
But then they know they don't have the funds or the process or whatever
Right.
they need to have that process in place.
Yeah.
And my thing is, if that process can't be in place, then it can't happen.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. Like if that's the rule, you have to be able to enforce the rule. Mm-hmm. If you can't enforce the rule, you can't. Make it a rule.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, and I'll be curious to see like if anybody in the comments has counter arguments.
I would love to hear
'Cause, like,
counter arguments.
that's what I'm
I just thought we were farther than we
right,
were.
right. Yeah, I don't know.
Is what it sounds like to me. And I hope I misread the PDGA's email.
Yeah.
I don't think I did. It was pretty black and white what it said. It was basically like, you can submit this if you want. It's not required to. Because I think it's also in that line too, is like they feel like it might be a HIPAA violation or whatever. But it is not a person's right to play disc golf in a tournament. That is a service being offered. And so therefore, just like your company can ask for random drug tests,
Right.
you can say, hey, before you register for this, you have to meet X, Y, and Z qualifications, and we have to make sure.
Yeah.
That is allowed. That is fine. Drug testing happens in every sport
Yes.
except for disc golf. Happens in every sport because disc golf doesn't
now.
even test
For
for
now.
well, disc golf doesn't even test for performance enhancing drugs.
For now.
For now, that's a great point. But I think that's stuff that just like
I mean,
how
electric would a random drug test be in disc golf? Oh my gosh, it would be.
No one would be playing that tournament.
Well, it just
Well, it
depends.
depends on what they were testing
They probably wouldn't
True.
put marijuana on the banned substances because I think marijuana is kind of on its way out in the
Well,
banned
yeah, that
substance
makes
list for
sense.
sports. But it would just be fascinating. Like, imagine if some guy gets tagged with a random drug test and you find out like that Ricky's been taking roids this whole time.
yeah.
Like,
I
just,
don't know. Would you consider marijuana a performance enhancing drug because it calms your mind?
I don't know. I just know that they're.
It's such a tough one because it doesn't
Yeah.
really last.
I just know that
You're
they're
not allowed to
Sure, you're not allowed to
consume
smoke.
it during the round.
They're taking
Okay.
it. They're
well, you can consume like edibles or something.
They're taking it
Yeah,
off
that's what I'm
of,
saying,
they're
though.
taking it off of lists in the NFL and things like that. So I'm just saying, regardless, it probably will not be a banned substance if they implement it.
I think it should be though.
Well, if it's legal, like alcohol,
Yeah.
it falls in the kind of the same
Right.
category.
That's the
But is it? But
that's
can
what-
you?
Because you can use
drink while.
because currently you can use
you can't drink or
Exactly.
smoke.
currently you can
During
use
PDGA
like
rounds.
CBD
Yeah.
products like that's legal in golf and that also has an effect like that. So it's always like where's the line?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very tough one.
Mm-hmm.
We're not paid to answer it, so I'm
Yeah,
glad
true.
I'm not in that.
Yeah.
I'm
True.
glad I'm not in that boat.
Yeah.
It's a fine
But
line.
yeah, I don't know. I was reading the Quillette article, and like I said, I thought it was interesting that some of the women finally spoke out, but like it was such a small sample size that you could cherry pick whatever you wanted from that. The email, that was to me pretty shocking. That one I wasn't ready for. So I'm very curious to see
maybe the most
what
scandalous email leak of the decade.
I'm very curious to see what this offseason brings for the process and everything, because to me, I would love to hear someone disagree. I would love to hear what I'm overlooking. Change is absolutely needed as of right now. Like as of right now, it's pretty obvious to me change is needed. Yeah. So I would love to hear someone, and I'm being honest, I'm not saying like, oh, I'd love to hear you counter. Like I really would love to read a comment that counters it with some good points as where we are currently standing, not where it looks like the PDGA was at, but the PDGA is not double checking where they're at. So PDGA, man, I try to love you. I pay you $75 a year, and all I get is pain in return.
Here's what I can tell you, Hunter. Let me give you the good news. Okay, I got two things of good news.
I can't wait.
Number one, this crew neck is still on our site. You can still buy this beautifully embroidered crew neck.
It's very comfortable.
And it's incredible, and I'm wearing it again because it rocks.
I wore it yesterday.
Hat. Number two piece of good news, we've got a preview coming up on Wednesday.
For the best tournament of the year.
For the best tournament of the year.
Yep.
United States Disc Golf Championship.
So if you don't normally watch our preview show, you're going to want to tune in this Wednesday.
You know what? Do we get Silas on the preview show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we make Silas preview?
I think honestly we probably
hates?
should, just so he can chirp in and be like, that sucks.
That sucks. You can see a parking lot behind where they're throwing.
Stupid.
That's what Silas sounds like when we talk about USDGC. Oh, what was that? Oh, he said he loves USDGC. All right, we'll talk to you next week. Nope. We'll talk to you Wednesday.